Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode, and you won't miss out. All right, so welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. Your presence is very much appreciated. So much like my last Hallmark movie review, if you have arrived here through my love of the game of Big Brother, and we share another common interest in Hallmark, that's great. I think you'll love this. If you've wandered here, I should say, because you love Hallmark, that's great. You'll also love this. Now, if you have no interest in Hallmark, but you like or have enjoyed a romantic comedy from time to time, I think you'll like this. And if you don't fall in any of these categories I just mentioned, that's okay. I ask that you take a listen anyway, and rest assured my other content is available on my podcast or YouTube, and I look forward to our next chat on those other shows. All right, so this segment is, this episode I'm recording now is a segment of my podcast where I share the love I have for Hallmark movies, and I'm back for another quick romantic movie review. I guess it could be considered a romantic comedy. I'm hearing other people describe it that way. I suppose it's romance, and the overarching category is romantic movie, I guess, right? Similar to my last Hallmark review, we're talking about how much diversity we're seeing on the Hallmark channel, and it's been great for all of us fans, right? We're not only seeing diversity in characters, but we're also seeing diversity in storylines. And this movie, Just One Kiss, most certainly offers a different storyline we're not used to seeing on Hallmark. This is the second weekend in a row where I had to look at the info guide on the program midway through the movie just to remind myself that I'm looking at Hallmark. I'm watching a Hallmark channel, not any other channel. The movies, the last 2 weekends, the movies have been a little different, but I'm liking it. I'm not complaining. I'm liking what I see for Hallmark. The storylines for these romantic movies still hold true with romance, but the backstory and how we arrive at love takes a different path for Hallmark, and I'm here for it. I like it. Okay, so let's talk about Just One Kiss. I'm going to be completely transparent and say when I saw the preview and I looked at the trailer, I wasn't interested. No, I thought, is this a musical? Like what? What direction are we headed in Hallmark? What's happening? I wasn't interested. And don't get me wrong, I love musicals. My daughter's a theater nerd. I enjoy all of that. I like going to New York. I like going to the Broadway shows. I love it. But I just wasn't prepared to see this on Hallmark. I just wasn't prepared. I didn't even live tweet. I didn't watch it live. I didn't live tweet. But I said, Danielle, okay, come on. You love the Hallmark channel, and it's part of the Spring Into Love series. So just DVR it and watch it later, right? So later came, we came back from my kiddo's driving lesson, and I wanted the craft. So I went into my craft room. I make cards and paper crafts, by the way. And normally what I do when I'm making crafts is I just turn on my TV in my craft room and I watch Hallmark movies while I make cards, and that's my routine, when I want some time for myself. When I tell you that I didn't even get through making one card because this movie captured my attention the entire time, I was pleasantly surprised. I really did enjoy this movie. It was really good. All right, so let's start with Jeff Beasley. He's the director of this movie. And the main characters of the cast that the movie revolves around are Broadway alum Krysta Rodriguez. She plays Mia. Then we have another Broadway alum, Tony Award-winning Santino Fontana. He plays Tony. Ileana Douglas plays Marlene, which is Mia's mom. And then Ada Torturo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She plays Sophia, which is Tony's mom. And the synopsis of the movie is as follows. Sparks fly between a professor and a lounge singer after their respective mothers hatch a scheme to set them up. Okay, first, the storyline isn't the typical path Hallmark takes in a romantic movie. We have Mia and Tony, who are described as opposites, and they're not so good they have not so good love lives, right? Mia is soon to be a divorced mom. She's not divorced yet. She's going through the process of getting a divorce. She has a daughter, 11-year-old. I want to say her name is Rose. I forget. I'm sorry. And then we have Tony, who is still finding his way through after 5 to 6 years, we believe, since his relationship ended with Katie. And it seems that relationship ended. It may have ended because of their differences and their differences in thought in terms of family, right? Starting a family. And what a surprise when we saw Katie's husband. Yeah, it was Peter Benson, aka Detective Arthur Smith from the Aurora Teagarden series. So that was cool to watch. He threw a little dig with his line with the music, or he said something like singing and dancing, enjoy, like it just was so rude. And that's what I'm saying. I had to look up. I'm like, are we watching Hallmark? I mean, that little dig was a little much. But anyway, normally we wouldn't have seen these two characters, Mia and Tony, get together really. But unbeknownst to them, they are brought together by their mothers. When we're introduced to the leading characters, we see Mia. She's finding her way through life. She's a college professor of literature, I think. And in the middle of getting a divorce from her husband, who, by the way, battles alcoholism, which led to them losing all of their money in their house. They have a daughter they're trying to co-parent, and the husband, he isn't looking to get a divorce. He wants a reconciliation. And again, this is what I'm talking about in terms of Hallmark. We have a woman who is still married. They're working through co-parenting, and the husband has an addiction. He's an alcoholic. So he struggles with alcoholism, right? Like, do we see this normally on Hallmark in a romantic movie? No, right? All right. Tony, he's a popular singer in New York. He headlines clubs in Manhattan and has many superstitions. And as I mentioned earlier, his last relationship, which was about 5 or 6 years ago, or he's recovering from that. And to me, he seems charming and suave, debonair, a little over the top sometimes. And it's interesting to see his character arc in the movie. As we learn in the movie, each of them have experienced pain and loss. And the twist, I don't want to spoil it, but the twist was pretty nice to see. We kind of figured it out like a third of the way through the movie, probably earlier than that, but I did like the twist at the end of the movie. I really love this movie. The movie captured my attention the entire time. I loved everything about it. A lot of what I see online, and I couldn't agree more, is that I smiled throughout this whole movie. The plot, the music, the singing, the moms. Oh my goodness. The moms were central to the lead characters, and they were loving. They were adorable. They were cute. They were believable in terms of how mothers are, right? Trying to make sure of the well-being of their kids, or they have every intention of like having their children have great lives and success in love and, things like that. Overall, similar to A Second Chance at Love, which was my review I did last weekend, the characters were real characters. They're human, they're flawed, yet they're lovable and they're relatable, right? We didn't have to suspend belief too much. Not too much, right? I love the skepticism Mia had. I love the superstitions Tony had. I was entertained. Tony has a beautiful voice. Both of them have beautiful voices. So I liked it. I love the movie, the love story. And it was just one kiss that gave them their happily ever after. You see what I did there? Again, I stayed interested in the movie the entire time. And I'm happy I chose to DVR and watch it. If I had to do it all over again, I probably would have watched it live. This way I can engage in the live tweeting. I get a lot out of that. Live tweeting with all the Hallmarkies. The movie gave me all the feels, especially the twist at the end. I really enjoyed it. So if you'd like to watch it, it re-airs April 3rd on Hallmark Channel at 6 p.m. Eastern. And again on Thursday, April 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And again next Sunday, April 4th at noon Eastern. It's also on demand until April 5th. And that's through my Fios package. What we have, it's on our demand until April 5th. So you have to make sure you check out your own cable or your network's package to see if it's on demand there. If you haven't seen it and you like romantic movies, I recommend checking this one out. Give it a chance. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And if you have seen the movie, you have to let me know what you think. Leave me a comment and let me know below. Okay? And that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And consider leaving me a message. I'd love to engage with you. All right. My name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.